it's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts, Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Why, hello, all you Days fans. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. And if you all haven't already, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, X, and Threads. X meaning formerly Twitter, which I think Twitter is still tweeting and not Xing. Also, if you are watching us live, thank you guys so much. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, so that way you'll never miss when we're going live and in living color. And if you're listening to us on our podcast and you want to see our faces, make sure you head on over to YouTube. Or if you're on YouTube and can't finish the episode and need to take us on your road trip or on the treadmill or while you're working it out in the gym, head over to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Type in Dishin Days and take us along wherever you need to. And also make sure you buy our merch. That's right. We have some lovely, lovely, lovely merchandise for you all to check out. Everything from shirts to there we are. Everything from shirts to towels to all sorts of other stuff. And these lovely logos. So make sure you head on over to dishindays.threadless.com and purchase your merch today. I'm also in charge of all the buttons today, so I'm just like do. And make sure you go support our former co-host and my chocolate twin, James Lott Jr., who has started his own little media company called JLJ Media, where you can get your full fix of General Hospital, Bold and the Beautiful, and Young and the Restless, along with some original audio dramas. So make sure you show him some love. Head over to JLJ Media on YouTube, subscribe, and listen to all the shenanigans he's got going on over there. And trust me, it's a lot. And also throughout the show, make sure you tell us what you think and make sure you comment below if you're watching us later. All right. Two things. Number one, Michael Mattis is not with us today because he's busy. So shout out to Michael Mattis. And if you haven't noticed already, yes, we are pre-tape because we have a possible hurricane coming through LA. So we want to get this out to you in case all of our stuff shuts down. Yes. And so here you go. You get a pre-tape version. Now listen, I know y'all don't like pre-tape because you like it live, but it's all right. You're still live talking to all the fans of Days. Exactly. We just did this the day before.
Yes.
And we live in LA where 3 raindrops will shut the city down. So we need to, this is a precaution we need.
Well, let me tell you, a cloud will put us on notice and warning.
Yeah. When I tell you the line at Costco, whew,
yes.
Like 5 different entrances all blocked.
Well, listen, it's nothing different than what my mother will do if there's a thunderstorm or any kind of storm coming. She rushes to the store, buys milk, bread, some meat, some things to make a sandwich with, just some odds and ends, so that way she has some stuff in the house and she doesn't have to worry about it. And water. Can't forget water. Because I heard her say, "Don't forget my water." Shout out to Mama Moore.
Right.
All right, so what did we think of this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives?
I loved it. I was sort of worried about if I would like it this week because we knew what was coming up, but I'm really hats off to them, honestly. Really well done with the clips. The Victor stuff was all good and poignant, and I felt like they really gave it the attention it deserved. And from all, we'll get into it in all different angles. So I love that. I like that we also got some variety too. It wasn't the full week of farewell Victor kind of a thing.
Yes.
So yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. I was actually really impressed this week with what they did.
I saw there were people online who were actually complaining about just that why are we talking about other stuff when Victor just died. I'm like, listen, we're going to be talking about Victor for a while, for probably the whole month. We have not even gotten to his funeral yet.
Yeah.
They just found out. We have a ways to go. So yes, we have time keeps moving. Other storylines, things happen. So just enjoy the show.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this week was a great mix of like just things that are happening in real time. There's life is life and things are being figured out, and it's the world didn't stop. Once the discovery of Victor happened. So I appreciated that, and then I appreciated the transition later on in the week to kind of showcase Victor and Maggie. So I thought the show did a great job with that. But let's break it on down, everybody. It's now time for our favorite part of the show, where we try to figure it out. It is now time to start
Dishin Days.
Well, we tried, honey. We tried. We tried our best. We have tried our best. All right. And we are going to get into our first top storyline, which is a farewell to Victor. Before we get into what actually happened on the show, did you guys read like that article that Jennifer Aniston had an issue with how Victor's death was playing out?
I heard speculation, but I didn't know how true that was, or is it actually a thing?
Same. Like, I don't know, but like there were rumblings that like she had an issue with the fact that like it was they chose a plane crash. Now I don't know how true that is.
Okay.
But ain't that like a real soap opera fan?
I know, right?
Now wait a minute.
Yeah.
Y'all had to send him on a crashing in a plane, and I think it had something to do with like her own phobia of that.
That's what I think I heard.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
You know what? Oh, now that you mention it, I totally think that's true. Oh, now that you mention it, about 2 or 3 years ago, she was on a private plane with a couple of her girlfriends on her way to, I think, Baja. And one of the people that was on that plane was Jimmy Kimmel's wife. They're really close friends. They were on a private plane that experienced severe turbulence, and like they nearly crashed. So like they were like making phone calls in the air, like that was how serious it was. So now that you mention that, I totally think that might be a possibility.
I just looked it up because the New York Post has picked it up with the headline of Jennifer Aniston allegedly upset over Days of Our Lives plan to kill off Dad.
Well, they had to kill him off.
Well,
that
yes.
was not the issue.
It says that Jennifer hates to fly, so this has rubbed her the wrong way. But what can she do? They have to explain Victor's death on the show.
Yeah.
I'm just,
well,
again,
if it's a phobia of hers, and given that she was almost in a plane crash herself, I could totally see her having an issue with that. But by the same token, she knows that they had to write off her father in some way.
Yeah.
And they clearly now they've told us that this is with a purpose, that this is sort of going to lead into another storyline that we have no idea what's happening yet, because they established through phone calls that Victor left early. He left Bo and Hope wherever they are.
3 days.
3 days.
3 days early.
So he was off doing something else in the Mediterranean, somewhere. So probably somewhere in Greece. So
was it Greece? Because they said that
it could have been. Yeah.
They said that Bo's location was unknown. So
exactly.
While they thought it was Greece, he was somewhere else.
Yes. So we have no knowledge of what Victor was doing in those days leading up to his death. So that's going to lead into another mystery. What I find really ironic and and I didn't even think about this until just now, was that this was also the way they wrote off Sean Sr.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes, yeah. Kind of, yeah. Like he didn't, like he He was on the plane when it crashed, but he died before he actually died before the plane crashed because of lack of oxygen. So that was his actual cause of death. But yes, plane crash, similar thing, which was very it's a little ironic. I'm not sure if anyone thought of that before putting this into the story. The difference being, and I think they touched upon that Sean Sr. was actually surrounded by family when he died, whereas Victor was alone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it raised a lot of questions for me because I was like, number one, the few times that we had seen Victor, he was just placed in his chair. So the fact that he would get on a plane, I was just like, but I'm and then I thought, well, could they have just done like a natural cause? But then I was like, that would be traumatic for Maggie because that's exactly how Mickey died. I just remember her like coming out of the room, and this is again when the real actor had passed. They decided to kill Mickey off the show, and she just came from like out of the room and just said he's gone. So I mean, I don't know if those were her exact words. Don't quote me on that before some soap fan goes, she actually said. But I just remember that. So I don't know. But what you said, Araceli, just kind of makes sense that like the Days writers are smart in that it's not just like he died and like this is like an isolated thing. It seems like it's going to be a part of a storyline. Which I think, as much as people like to dislike, the writers of Days, I think it's smart to like, take this and then go, okay, now what can we do with this? How can this steamroll into like everything else? You know what I mean? So that it's just not like he died, we have the funeral, and then it goes back to whatever storylines, have been going on.
Yeah. When I first heard like plane crash, I was a little taken back by it and thinking like, oh, what a sort of weird way to like sort of end his character. But the fact that it's leading into a bigger storyline that we don't know how big, it could be something small, it could be a big umbrella storyline, we don't know. But I think in a weird way, it sort of helps honor him and keep his memory and legacy going by making his sort of demise a part of a bigger storyline. So I actually turned around on it and think it's probably a good idea or a nice way to go out as a soap opera character. And like you said, Tony, it would, if he died of natural causes, it would be way too similar to Mickey. So it's like you have to differentiate it a bit, especially since you have the Maggie as the grieving wife both times. So
yeah. But then there's like a with the news of this, there's a ripple effect of like everyone finding out and everyone kind of processing it. One thing that I liked was, I mean, there are a couple of things that I like. It seemed like number one, overall, people had nicer conversations with people that they wouldn't normally have nice conversations with. But I love the fact that Bonnie recognized what Justin was doing. And I don't know about you guys, but like there are certain people in families that their immediate reaction to any sort of grief is to become the strong one. And so then they forget about themselves. They forget to like, you have to process this yourself, right? And I think Bonnie realized that with Justin. And then when Justin broke down, I was just like, "Whew, Lord, yes!" Like it was like that loving moment of being given permission. Like, hey, you don't have to be tough right now. Like you don't have to carry this burden for everyone else. And I just really like their relationship like that. Although there's still just times where I'm just like, I wonder if they'll just like be like Bonnie was actually brainwashed, and it's Adrian was actually brainwashed and is actually Adrian, and Bonnie is like somewhere in like Punta Cana with a feet up and a dog and being and being like I was unaware. Anyway, that's off track. Anyway, I just like that moment that they had with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved all the interaction. I love that they gave a good amount of time and attention to Kate. I thought that was really nice to like really be like, yes, Maggie is his now current wife, but you know, sort of, I don't know, the heyday of my time of days is like the Kate and Victor years when they were together in that sort of partnership. And them being really, or Kate being really honest in her conversations with Roman about their relationship. It was tumultuous, great at times, and horrible at times. But I think there was a mutual respect there.
Mutual respect and love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love, just a lot of the interactions we got were great. The Julie Maggie stuff was really nice, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was important to honor all that Victor was. Yeah. That, you know, you can't just say when someone dies that they were all good. This man was not all good. There were times when he was downright a miserable human being, as Steve pointed out. Yes. But, you know, years go by, decades go by, and people mellow, people learn different lessons. You learn that certain people have reasons for what they do that make absolutely no logical sense to you, probably make no logical sense, period. But for the person that they were, how they were raised, how they grew up, it just makes sense to them. And that was Victor. You know, he was not all good. He was not all bad. And, you know, that goes down to all the boys in his life, you know, the way he treated Xander and Brady and Philip was atrocious at times, the way they pitted him against each other. And they acknowledged that. And they said, but we loved him, you know.
I do like I like that everyone's memories of Victor pertain to their experiences with Victor. And like you said, not all good, not all bad, but you know, when Steve was talking about him, it was almost like, well, good riddance.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he was not a good man. And so, but it allowed to him, yes. But it allowed to show his experience and what he went through and his conversations with Victor. And then, you know, then you get to like Xander and Brady and Xander, you know, always wanting Victor's approval and acceptance. And Brady's, I mean, it was really a nice overall scope of Victor. And then of course, poor Sean just feeling like the black sheep of the family. And that like no one called him. He had to find out through Belle. But then now blaming himself, which I did like oh girl.
I know.
Yeah. So everyone's been kind of like Sean's just throwing himself a pity party kind of a thing. Yeah. But here's the thing. Sean's unfortunately is not feeling really connected to anything right now. And I think that people are lost on that.
No, he's feeling connected to something.
He's feeling connected to his own
alcohol.
Yes, to alcohol and his own grief.
Demons. Skeletons.
He knows he did wrong. And he may never get over that until Bo wakes up. And the thing is like Victor only just reinforced what was going on in his own head. And it's just like, I think Sean's not feeling really connected to anything other than pain right now, not to anyone or anything. He has family that he's just isolating himself.
He has a ton of people that care about him. He just can't get past his own inner saboteur. I do love that Kate and Chloe were able to, because I was.
Girl, it's a long time coming. Water under the bridge at this point, like.
Right. Do you think? Because I totally forgot that people still think that Philip is missing. No one knows where Philip is. And I'm just like, now, first of all, to the people of Salem, because this is probably the longest secret that has been kept in Salem. So kudos to that.
Maggie knows.
No.
No.
The only two people that knew, three, were Kate, Victor, and Philip. Do you think that she should have told Chloe
No.
about Philip?
No, not in that moment because she had other priorities. Look, she it's nice that she and Chloe had that moment, but Chloe was not her priority in that moment. Her priority was Philip and deciding if she was going to tell him that his dad had just died. That's her priority right now.
Yeah.
I think maybe not that moment, but I think she should have made it a point to like let Chloe in on everything. And I'm with you, Tony. I forgot because remember there was that scene a while ago, and this led to Rex and Sarah, where Rex, remember, told Sarah that Philip was alive, and I thought that from that we were to assume that he was going to tell everyone or everyone would know. And then when they started this again, and it was like nobody knows, I'm like, wait, okay, it seemed kind of weird. So now Roman, Kate, Sarah, Rex,
and Lucas
know. I mean, that's a pretty tight group
for Salem standards.
Yeah, but
I think about to walk back through like Nick did during that wedding.
Yeah, I figured Kate needs to sit down Brady and Chloe and with Roman and explain to them the whole thing. So then you don't have to have the awkwardness of is he going to come back and is Brady going to press charges? Like you don't have to sort of deal with that if you sit them down and like I think really explain to them what was going on.
Yeah.
Brady's not going to like it, but I don't think he's going to come out and go after Philip.
Yeah.
Well, they're setting up for Victor's return. Not Victor, Philip's return. Because thank you, Days crew, for letting us know which Philip is coming. They were like, Philip Kyriakis, this one. Sometimes I wish like Kyle Brandt would just come back.
I really didn't mind Kyle.
Huh?
I really didn't mind Kyle.
I didn't either. I think my initial shock was, this is the guy from Real World Chicago.
Yeah.
Like, how is this? And then now it's like he wants nothing to do with it. I don't think like he's just all about sports and whatever. But I was somewhere actually recently, and they were showing like a commercial for his show, and I was like, Kyle Brandt, Real World Chicago, and Philip Kyriakis on Days of Our Lives. Ain't that something? And
we're connected though.
And I think I always think that because like I actually met him at in Greenville, South Carolina during the fan event, and again I was just like,
"You're Kyle,
Kyle from Real World Chicago. Like, how is this?" But anyway, so it's I think it's going to be interesting because they're obviously setting up for Philip's return, so it's going to be interesting to see how that is handled.
Yeah. One thing that I actually really liked that I thought they did a really sort of like respectful sort of nod wink wink was when the Julie and Justin scene. And for those that don't know, I think that when she said like I'll tell you stories about your uncle, I think she was alluding to the fact that there was a time where Victor wanted Julie and was courting Julie in the early 90s.
What?
And they were putting them together. Yeah, I think it was during the Cruise of Deception. Someone correct me in the chat for that. But yeah, it was when Julie was divorced from Doug and he was off the show and they were going to put Julie and Victor together as a couple. And so I like that. I like that she had that conversation with Justin and not with Maggie, of course, which you wouldn't have in life. But I thought that was a nice little
I don't know if you guys watched, but someone on X, formerly Twitter, put Victor's first appearance on Days.
I've seen it a few times.
And the chemistry that between Victor and Carolyn and in that fish market, I was like, talk about a secret affair that, that has like a bit of fire to it. But it's so interesting that, like in that conversation, I got it. Like Carolyn looked at herself as just like this small town girl who was never going to live up to like this extraordinary of a man named Victor Kiriakis. And it's like, how is it that this type of man could be so in love with little old small town USA me?
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt that, but it just made me be like, Carolyn, go on and get your man.
It wasn't just that it was the wrong man, it was the wrong time.
Well,
You
that too.
know, that Carolyn had already made her decision of the type of life that she wanted. And she wanted that with Sean. Where
But I
so
feel like she
and I
based it on the fact that she didn't think she was deserving of that type of life with Victor.
mhm,
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, I think in hindsight, you know, a young Carolyn said that. I think an older Carolyn would have said that it was probably never going to be the right life for her. That if she had tried it, she probably would have regretted it. Now, compare that to Maggie, where you could probably say the same thing about Maggie in her young years when she and Mickey were together. You know, Maggie was a small town farm girl. Same thing. She grew into the woman that she became, the business owner, the matriarch. And so she was in a different space in her life when she met Victor. So all these people that say, oh, like Maggie, the CEO, how could Maggie be a CEO? I was like, well, there's a difference. Maggie grew into the person that she has become now. And she's not a CEO because of her like vast years in business. She's a CEO because she is the person that Victor trusts. Victor put her in charge because she is the one person in the world that he trusted completely, and he knew that he thought that she was capable. Now the rest of us think that she might need a little help. You know, and
A little.
thankfully she's brought Chad on, so he actually does have the business acumen to help her. But you know, that's, I think the difference is that, you know, young Maggie probably would have gone the same path as Carolyn. She probably wouldn't have gone with Victor. But older Maggie, they're just different spaces in their lives. It just worked at that time.
Yeah.
I think seeing those old clips was interesting too, because I've liked the character Victor, but I've always felt like the last few years they've sort of relegated him to like not a caricature, but like a very strong like archetype. And I felt like he was always so much more nuanced in the earlier years. And part of me wishes they had written a little bit of that nuance and duality into him in these later years. It felt like they rested on the fact that he's like the old curmudgeon who says like crazy stuff, and you know, he'll come in for a scene and insult someone and we laugh and, you know, exit stage left. It's like I wish that those
Or
last
when
had gotten what?
or when he saw Nicole like trying to leave the window
Oh my
and
god,
she was just sitting there. And
that honestly is one of my favorite clips. I laugh. As much as I hated him during that period and thought he was like just a masochist, whatever, but that actually always makes me laugh out loud.
The timing, I tell you.
That in his side eye of Bonnie and her melons, that actually gets me too whenever they play that clip.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was nutty.
Moving away from Victor for 2 seconds. Just a quick question. I don't think I've asked this before. Do you think Chloe should marry Xander?
No.
I'm still not minding it. I'm still.
I
The
think it's too
relationship,
soon.
fine, but
Well,
no,
yeah.
marriage
Oh,
is too
yeah,
quick.
yeah. Oh, you mean like now? You mean
Marriage? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's too soon, but I'm on the track.
I think things are accelerating because they do live and work together. So everything probably seems like hunky dory. But I was just like, and I'm sorry, but if I ask someone, which I mean, I hope I don't have to ask. I mean, in my fairy tale, I get asked, but if I asked someone to marry me and they were like, "Let me think about it,"
Yeah.
no. And I also didn't. And while we're talking about this, um, Brady, you were already having a bad day. You should have just went back home.
Yeah.
You should have just went back home, minded your business. No one, like, you didn't have to overhear that. And again, it's this need to win. Like, that's the
No.
whole reason why he went over there and laid that kiss on Chloe, because it's like, well, I can't lose her. This is my last ditch. And some people might, think, oh, but I'm thinking like, that
Oh
was not the
no.
time to do that.
I think actually that was the alcoholic in him. That impulse control that you get when things go wrong, and you can do one of two things. You can drink, or you can spiral out and make like other poor decisions, impulsive decisions. Just because your poor impulsive decision is not alcohol doesn't mean it's not a poor impulsive decision.
Right. Brady was doing too much. Like, I feel for you that you lost Rachel, but like, let's go home, have yourself a Shirley Temple, get into your pajamas, put your feet up, and have a moment.
Yeah.
Have a little bit of a moment. Before we veer off of our farewell to Victor storyline, I do like the fact, as I said earlier, that they were celebrating Suzanne Rogers being on the show for 50 years. So along with this, they were able to tie in those moments with her and Victor, but also just realize her life in Salem for the past 50 years. And let me tell you, I see why Maggie went with Mickey, because when he was standing outside that door and say, "Hey, could I have a glass of water?" I said, "Now,
gorgeous man, and the beard, and yes, you limp over there, Tony, on your crutch." And I always love that scene, because I always think of how's she carrying that water in those two glasses on a crutch. But I was like, okay, I see Maggie. I see
and I for some reason I kept wanting her to pour the water and like look up and look at him and be like, but she was just like, let me get my glass back.
Farm girl.
I'm like, Maggie, you don't see them.
We are in need of a farmhand if you're looking for work.
Right. And I didn't know that Maggie and Julie were so close. I feel like
they started the same year.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like seeing that moment of like Julie, who, first of all, can we give it up to Susan Seaforth Hayes, who seems like she has not aged in like the past 50 years? Like, that literally could have looked like like a clip that she just filmed like last week. But that poor oven and that poor steak and like Maggie coming in and like throwing the rug off of her. I was like, now this is how you start a beautiful friendship.
Did I read somewhere, or is this my imagination, that they didn't have stunt doubles back then?
They had to have a stunt double because they were not showing Susan at all.
Stunt double,
Okay. All right.
So
or that they didn't know how to fake the fire. I don't know. I feel like I read something somewhere.
No,
Twitter has just been like a bunch of information. People are now coming out of the woodwork for information, and I can't read it fast enough.
No, I've seen that scene before, and I was it's a really well done scene, just from a technical standpoint of someone catching on fire.
What was it? I liked it. It was great. Well, the farewells continue next week, but let's now move on. Oh boy. Small town politics. I don't know who this Rawlings guy is, but he is getting on my artery, which is past my nerves. Like, the fact that like he comes in and like he's just trying to make all these changes and stuff. I'm like, and I love the fact that when he tried to be like, Paulina assaulted me, I have the video. And Sean's like, I think you just got poked. And like, I have other things to do. Well, you're the commissioner. And he's like, yeah, my job is to serve the people. Like, it's like, I think you'll be okay. And put him in his place, just kind of being like,
good.
I don't owe you anything. Like, you
No.
know what I mean? Like, you don't get to like control me. I was like, yeah, go sit your little self down,
Yeah.
acting mayor, because you ain't acting like a mayor right now. You acting like something else.
Yeah. He's such a mustache twirling villain. It was like you could see the manipulation a mile away.
I have such an issue with that rule in general, not just in Salem, but like the number of times that I've heard that exact statement on Blue Bloods, a city about New York freaking City. Like the fact that that is like the understood rule in all of this country is so stupid to me. It's ridiculous.
The what? What rule?
That you serve at the commissioner serves at the pleasure of the mayor.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Like that is in small town Salem and New York City that's the rule. Seriously?
No. How do you guys feel about Abe being pushed to be the mayor again in order to help Sweet Bits?
I don't think he was pushed. I saw bits of the old Abe come back. Sure, he was. I think he was compelled, but I don't think anyone is pushing Abe. I think he's fully in this fight. It seemed to light a fire under him in a way that was different from, oh, you have to get your memory back. Like it seems like he's fully invested in him, and this is a part of Abe that even though he doesn't have his memory, that is like, no, this is still me at my core, wanting to fight the good fight.
I had no problem with it. I was like rooting for like, oh yeah, even if he doesn't remember his family, he's still of sound mind and body for the most part and can still do his job as mayor until that press conference. And I have to say they ate him alive and he deserved it actually. Not the crazy stuff from Rawlings, but he deserved the stuff about the city council. Part of me was like, girl, those should have been the flashcards you were studying. Like who's on the city council, what your relationships are to people, what your platform is. I'm like, that's the stuff you should have been studying. Because no one I mean, do people really care, the citizens, that you don't remember Paulina? I mean, possibly, but like that's not gonna affect their daily life. Like the politics is the stuff you should have been studying. So that part, when that happened, I was kind of like, oh, he kind of got you there, Abe. Like,
but here's the thing, like I just feel like this. Yes, he is getting better, but he has just gone through a lot. And also the fact that like you have no memory. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, like you couldn't even go be the ice cream man that that Whitley King told you that you were. You know what I mean? Like it's like you have no memory. So my whole thing was, while he's getting better and of sound in mind, like you don't know nothing. You don't remember the laws. You don't remember the city council people. Like you. So it's like, I know maybe you're pushing for some sort of normalcy, but I just thought it was weird to suddenly have Paulina be like, "You should be back mayor again," and it's like, yeah, like I was with Steve, like you know, like all the stuff that he was saying, and it wasn't like to insult Abe. It was really just to say like, "Are you sure?" Because like the flashcards ain't gonna be able to help
I
you.
know. Part of me was like, why did y'all, where's Kate? Like, get Kate, the person who could actually help you, who was your communications person, who would have sat down with you to like honestly go over all of this stuff and to make sure you were ready. And I was kind of like, oh, she's kind of missing from, and I get why she was missing from this, but I felt like the logical person to call would have been Kate. I'm not sure what Belle was doing there, even though I thought it was cute to have her in the scenes with them, but I was like, why are you calling Belle?
Legal representation. Kate hasn't been in that scene in quite some time. Belle, I'm not sure if Belle was representing Abe at any point, but she's probably closest legal counsel to him, also as a family friend. I think that her compromise makes more sense. Clearly, we all agree that Abe is not ready for the full-time job. That doesn't mean that he's not in the fight. He should be, if he feels like he has the wherewithal to at least get in the fight peripherally, He just can't be the main man in charge.
Yeah. I didn't mind it. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and that's where Belle came in. Belle figured out how to get Rawlings out and appoint former slight governor Paulina.
Yeah.
That's also a thing. Believe it or not, that's also a thing where you can appoint temporarily your spouse. And that's actually been done in politics quite often. If someone dies while in office, you can there's a clause that says the spouse who they presume has the same political values can actually come in as an emergency replacement.
Yeah. Funny thing, I actually thought they were gonna come to that solution earlier in the episode, and then when sort of Abe stood up and was like, I'm gonna fight, I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna go in a different direction. And then for them to actually turn around by the end of the week and be like, yeah, we want Paulina, I was like, oh, okay, that's that sort of makes sense. Yeah.
I just like how Marlena was like, poor Abe, he's getting eaten alive.
I know.
Like, are you wait, was it Marlena being like, yes, it was. Like, are you watching this? It's like, I know that was hard to watch. Because let me tell you, kudos to those actors who played the reporters. Big shout out to Brandon. I know Brandon, who was on like Abe's left, who like asked a bunch of questions, and I was like, y'all are like, this is like a press conference, and y'all are hitting it. Oh, he was the one that asked about can you name the the city councilman? Can you name one of them? I was like,
oh damn. This is what I'm saying, where he needed Kate. Like Kate would have came in as his communications person and like schooled him on all this.
Yeah. I mean, but if she'd still been in that position,
it would have been everything to like him say that he was going back into it, and then suddenly like Kate was at the door and found out about it, and then you just kind of heard like, okay, well, guess we should get you ready. And then when he went to the press conference, it started seeming like he didn't know, but then something clicked, and maybe that part of his memory came back of like, oh yeah, city councilman, da 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 da. You know, so that way he could. But whatever. I mean, you know, it's going to be more interesting the fact that Paulina has been appointed as mayor. So
I like it.
In your face, Rawlings. But we all agree that we don't like Rawlings. He's coming in hot and doing too much. Not that we don't like the actor. The actor is doing a fantastic job making us dislike him.
Yes. I said last week, I love the actor. He's doing a great job at his job because he's making me hate him very, very much.
Yes. All right. Well, moving on from small town politics to Madonna. I changed it.
Michael might have picked the wrong week to not be here.
How do y'all feel about this?
Oh, this is the silliest thing ever. Just when you think it can't get sillier.
She's got to know.
I just, there's a part of me that just keeps wishing and hoping and praying that she does know. And she just now likes the game of them always weaseling out of the situation.
Exactly. That's what I'm hoping it is too. It defies, like, I mean, this is so not Gwen. And it'd be different if we saw if this was her the whole time, but it just doesn't make any sense that she wouldn't be caught onto something or some sort of plot or knowing about them or
I have no words. It's just so freaking silly. Like, I guess kudos to the Days team for trying to incorporate Madonna's upcoming tour into birthday and upcoming tour into the show. They couldn't have known that Madonna would get a virus. And the tour would be postponed. No.
My thing is this. Now, how do you guys feel about Dimitri and Leo? Because there's something about the secrecy of it all and all that makes me look at them and go, yeah, this is like actually a really good pairing.
Yeah.
I prefer this over Leo and Craig. No offense,
Mhm.
Oh
but
no, yeah, definitely.
like I feel like their dynamic matches each other.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But also, Leo, girl, you didn't think to take him to your room?
I know that. I know, right? Yeah,
Like you had.
I know. I'm with you too. I actually like them. I like everyone in this storyline. I just
Yeah.
think the Gwen not knowing is too much of a stretch. But I like the way everyone's playing this, and I like the actors. I love the chemistry between Leo and Dimitri. I think it's a really good pairing, and it's a pairing that you can kind of, even though he's betraying Gwen, it's still a pairing I think you root for because you want Leo with somebody, and they seem to be good together. So I
Mhm.
mean, you're sort of balancing that with him betraying Gwen, which is awful. But it's different because Dimitri is gay and he's not interested in Gwen. It would be different if, it's different if it were another triangle or, yeah.
Well, he's somewhat interested because he's able to do what he needs to do in order to make her think that he is Mr. MP.
It's just a lot.
But also, first of all, Dimitri lost many points when he made Leo explain why he was in Iceland. And if I was Leo, I would have said, "So you're not going to tell Gwenny that you sent for me here?
Uh-huh.
Why did you make it a point to make sure that I was here, Dimitri? I'm gonna put it back on you. You ain't gonna have
Yeah, I
me
like
sitting here
that.
looking like boo boo the fool."
I'm like, you got to play the part though. Like, yeah, he had to play the part of being like, wait, what are you doing? I'm like, okay,
I
that
mean,
makes
I'm
sense.
assuming he also lied about not liking Madonna, so he's just an A-class
Yeah.
liar at this point.
Or
But
I
I
thought
want.
he was, okay, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Justin.
I thought he was gonna go with the fact of like I paid for him to come so you would have company or something like that, or like you would have some fun. I don't know. I feel like I thought that's where he was gonna go with I brought Leo here to like hang out with you for some of the honeymoon or whatever.
Any answer,
Yeah.
literally anything else would have made more sense than Madonna.
Mhm.
Right. Like I was with you, Justin. Like I thought it was gonna like Dimitri was gonna say, um, I know that it's important for all of us to get along. I know
Mhm.
that Iceland is a place that you've always wanted to go, and I wanted you to have some time in this moment with your best friend.
Yeah.
But Leo came earlier than he was
That,
supposed to.
yeah,
And
that
then
was
Leo could have been like, well, in true me fashion, I saw an opportunity and I
yeah,
just hopped up
right.
on it. You know what
You
I
were
mean? Like,
paying, yeah, yeah.
yeah, like it's like, so then she could have been like, because the whole time she was looking, I was like, now listen, I hope your wheels are turning and being like, I ain't
This
buying
makes a
this
little
at
sense.
all.
Yeah.
But she went, Madonna, I want to go. Where can I buy tickets? I'm like, did you not hear that he said it was exclusive and he was part of a fan club? That means you ain't got no access to tickets. Like, where you going?
See, a part of me thought was like, I was like, oh, is that the trick? Is she goading him to be like, yeah, I'll come too? Like, you saying you going to Madonna? Okay, we're going. Let's see the tickets, kind of a thing. I thought that's
And not me trying to figure out like if they ended up going to a performance, like being Leo's friend and being like, okay, girl, there are a bajillion Madonna impersonators.
right.
Find one, find a gay club in Iceland, make it seem like it's like a Madonna exclusive, be in the way back. Like this could pull like I was scheming with Leo to make sure that she
Oh my
believed this
god.
Madonna performance.
And
Uh-huh.
considering they're in a foreign country where she doesn't know the language and the amount of people that he could have paid to be in drag, yeah, that would have made more sense.
Somebody in Iceland is like, open your heart to me, cherish the God in your name.
Oh my
Michael Maddox
god.
would be very proud of me right now.
Yes.
You're
Who
welcome, Michael Maddox.
wants to
Oh
just get
god.
all these clips of that silly day and send it to Madonna and get her opinion?
Right? Or can you can
Oh,
you
she'd be flattered.
imagine? if like if
She would
she
totally be
if she
flattered.
had knew that was happening, and like somehow in Iceland they like ran into her, and it'd be like just the one line of like maybe like a shoulder bump with Leo, and him being like, excuse me, and then her turning around and being like, bitch, I'm Madonna, and then him being like, do 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 do,
Mm.
Random extra in a pair of glasses with a Madonna ponytail or something.
right?
Sorry,
In
we
a
don't
trench
have Will
coat.
and Grace
I
money
know.
here.
In a trench
I
coat.
oh, what an epic episode that was.
You know they get Stacey Hyduke and put her in glasses and a trench coat. Girl,
That also would have worked.
put that nurse ponytail you wore in the Salem hospital. We need you to play Madonna for a scene.
And we all would have believed it.
No one will know.
But and then oh gosh, this is going to continue being a thing. Rachel knowing
Yeah.
about
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Uncle Dimitri and Leo having a sleepover.
Yeah.
And already, like, Rachel hasn't even been in that house long enough to like see the different parenting skills between Kristen and Brady. Like, you already got your child slightly lying and
Yeah.
keep it like, we have to keep this to ourselves because it involves money. Yes, a
What
whole lot of
great
it.
parenting.
I know.
What
right?
fantastic parenting, telling your daughter that she has to lie or else you're not going to get a lot of money.
And she literally was like, see this boba? See those bunk beds you got? All your new furniture and toys? This is where it came from, basically.
And then Gabby being like, so we're going to play a game of 20 questions.
Oh, God.
I can just guess what the secret is. I'm like, if y'all don't take this girl back to Marlena and John's,
I know.
she does not need to be around these grown folks.
Yeah.
Like, this is very much a Rachel, go to your room kind of a moment.
Yeah.
Or Rachel, no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, God.
Stay out of grown folks' business.
Yep.
Oh, Lordy.
This is grown folks' business. This is a child's place. You should be over here, not over here. There's no need for you to travel over here at all. Like, you're not going to be over here trying to see what's going on in grown folks' business.
Mm-hmm.
Stay over here in the child's place. Nothing for you to see here. Nothing for you to see here.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know that you know the shoe was going to drop.
Mm-hmm.
Either Gwen is going to see this for herself, or Rachel's going to spill the beans.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Interesting.
Very. All right. And that's pretty much it with that storyline, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all, before we head over into our tidbits, just a quick reminder to make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, if you want to take us along with you, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Make sure you buy some lovely merch, and make sure you support our former co-host and my chocolate twin, James Lott Jr., on YouTube through JLJ Media. And if you haven't already, make sure you keep telling us your thoughts. And if you're watching us later, make sure you comment below. We do read the comments. We may not reply, but we do read them.
Yes, we do.
Moving on into our tidbits. And Johnny makes 4.
No. No. Just no. No. We've done this before.
Yeah.
3 times at least.
Yeah.
No. And these in the past 2 years, yes, the amount of triangles in Salem could fill a stadium, but not in 2 years.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's been one after the other. I'm just like, at this point, I'm just like, just put Johnny and Chanel together. Like, I don't like the Talia thing. It's too much of a repeat of Allie for me. And it's like beat by beat. Now she's like talking to Marlena and she's discovering feelings. I'm like, that literally was the exact same scene we had with Allie when she discovered her feelings for Chanel. It's like,
But then, does she have feelings?
I know.
Because she was like, I have feelings, but I don't have feelings. It's like, Talia, girl, what you doing? Like, just go do your community service and get your life together.
Just make them best friends, and like that's fine. They already have enough conflict between them.
And I could be wrong, but I honestly don't think that Talia has romantic feelings for Chanel. I think she actually is confused because she has significant lack of experience in relationships, period. Now, she wants to explore. Good for her. I'm all for it. But it just feels more like she fell into a really good vibe with Chanel and wants that to continue, and she cares about her. But I'm not sure that necessarily equates to I want to go all the way with you. I actually think in this case, she might be a little confused because of her lack of experience. It was different with Allie because Allie had experience. One, Allie and Chanel had already had an established friendship and a connection that just kind of naturally grew.
Yeah. And the funny, they had that sort of scene where Talia was everything you just said, Araceli. Talia basically said that to Marlena, and it felt like, oh, they're going. That's an interesting route to take. Like, have basically like transference. She's taking all of her issues with Colin and her inexperience and putting that on Chanel. And then it was like 5 minutes later, it was like, oh no, I have feelings. I was like, oh God, come on.
Yeah.
I
mean, I could be wrong. If she does, good for her for having the bravery to go and act on those feelings, but I'm not necessarily sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's that. I mean, it'll spare us another try.
It'll spare Johnny's fourth triangle. I'm sorry, Johnny doesn't get enough credit. Like, this is why I had a huge problem with Allie when she was on the canvas, because she kept putting Johnny down when, like, I'm sorry, Johnny's been the loser in all of these romantic entanglements that he's been in since he got to Salem, and he's just been taking hit after hit after hit. And it seems in this case that he wants to bow out gracefully. And this is the one time where I'm like, no, you have more stake and a better chance in this fight.
Yeah.
Because you had a relationship and you didn't do anything wrong. God, I hate this.
I feel like they just, now that like the character of Talia is coming off of like a really big storyline, they're now trying to figure out what to do with her.
Yeah.
And I kind of hate that because I like the character of Talia. I definitely think that she could be, Chanel's homegirl for sure. And maybe just like how she was advocating for Rafe and Jada, she advocates for Johnny and Chanel.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's like, Talia, you need to take a beat from dating because you don't choose wisely.
I know, right, girl, take a break. I know.
It's like you will be okay, honey. You will be okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, girl.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next thing, the bulletproof marriage.
I howled when howled.
I mean, I would actually use them.
I mean, in Salem, you probably should.
Yeah.
I mean, the groom's already been shot once.
Yeah.
So it's not the worst idea.
Yeah. It's so funny too, because I actually, before she said the name of who it was, I immediately thought Vivian. I was like, was that from Vivian? Like thinking the joke. And then when she said Julie and Doug, I howled. I thought that was the funniest thing. I was like, Julie is so fucking petty.
Julie is the level of pettiness that I strive to be. And then like with Lee, Lee gave the thing and they were like, is it a bomb? And then it went and so they dumped it in water. I was like, Y'all are doing too much.
And I like that Gabi remembered. She was like, Lee told me this means bad luck. He thought he was trying to be cute. Like, I remember him saying that when we were together, trying to be cute. Like, I wouldn't remember, or we wouldn't know. In Chinese culture, this is bad luck to give someone
a clock.
I would still use it out of spite.
Oh, girl. And then Stefan confronting Melinda as to why Lee isn't in jail. Is it because, she's dating him? I'm like, and I love that everyone knows stuff because of Lady Whistleblower.
I know. Yeah.
And yet Lady Whistleblower is the person with the biggest secret in Salem right now.
Mr. MP, he must have a ding-a-ling of gold.
Not the Braxton.
Anyway, I just hope at some point Gabi and Stefan can just enjoy themselves without all and Lee can move on. They can move on from Lee. It's just time to move on.
Yeah,
I don't mind the Lee and Melinda pairing. It seems like they're both kind of like going into it, like maybe 80%.
Yeah,
honestly, and 20% like, let's see what I can have. Maybe I can have something in my back pocket.
Exactly.
Not the worst odds.
Yeah, they're growing on me. I wasn't always crazy about putting them together, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I'm not mad. All right. So now let's bring on the men and let the fun begin. A little touch of sin. Why wait another minute? This is also a storyline where I'm just like, girl.
Oh no.
I'm glad it was at least resolved.
Yes.
That, can we not just not go here again?
Kinda though. The end with Kristen seemed like she was stirring up some doubt with Chad.
Well, because here's the thing, Chad called it out right, that yes, Alex, you are up to some antics. And but I also am kind of mad at Stephanie for being upset with Chad that he would kind of put Alex in his place. Chad isn't dumb. Even though everyone's trying to act like, EJ gave bad advice. But Chad isn't dumb.
Yeah.
This man is making every excuse to come over, being shirtless and doing all this stuff. You don't have to do all that. If you want to be friends with him, then have respect for our relationship. Period. That's it. And I see where Chad is coming from. And I'm kind of upset with Stephanie because it's like you're allowing Alex to do that. You said all this and put him in his place, and you still see the antics, but now you're just like, like, girl, this is not the main character of a romantic comedy.
Well, we were saying this last week, Tony, that we were thinking that too, and then I said the one thing that made me switch to understand Stephanie when she said to Chad, you just did the same thing Alex did, and that at that point I got her a little bit better because I was girl, it's he can warn Alex to back off. That's fine. That's not some sort of slight against you. But when she said that, I sort of got what she was saying, that you basically did the same thing Alex did. It wasn't, the consequences weren't the same of
right.
I didn't get to talk to my mom and she's dead and I don't have that, but it was the same thing of you're taking control over my life. And
but again, Chad was trying to get with Stephanie too. I see you. I see what's going on. That's why I want you to back up off my woman.
Yeah.
It's not, I've said this, it's not what he said, it was how he said it.
Sure.
It was, and that's always usually the case. I am glad that, and this will kind of bring it full circle to what we were talking about before, that Stephanie was the one to break it to Alex. I think that a lot of people were kind of confused by that or took issue with that. I thought it was fine because it's not, him making a play for her. Nothing. One thing has nothing to do with the other. She happened to have a line to someone who could get the information quickly to him.
Yeah.
And she passed that information along, and it was there for him. Period.
Yeah.
Y'all move on.
Yeah.
Move on. Please move right out of my life. Move it out of my. I feel like I can take any situation and have a song for it. But you guys let us know what you guys think about this whole Chad, Stephanie, Alex situation. Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? Whose side are you on? Are you team Chad? Are you team Stephanie? Are you team Alex? Are you team Alex's abs? Like, where are we? But all right, but that was the week of days. And now we are going to go into our segments, and we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official. Sorry. Which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh, snap! Oh, snap!
There we go. You got to give it the full oh snap. Now, listen, you guys know that I love a good shady moment. And there was no other shadier moment than when Gabi was sitting there opening her gifts and realized that she received not one but 2 bulletproof vests from Doug and Julie with a note that said, "Till death do you part." The level of pettiness, the level of pettiness, the level of a read, the level of shade, but also nice that she even sent a wedding gift are all the things that I aspire to be. So to Julie and Doug, Susan Seaforth Hayes and Bill Hayes, you get Tony's official 3 Snaps Award because it don't get no pettier than that, honey.
Oh, snap!
I loved it. All right. And now it's time for what is it time for?
Me.
Aha. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now it's time for
Those were the days.
All right, I'm taking you back to August 15th, 2012, where Jack Devereaux has died yet again. This particular one, you'll see with the picture. This is the one where he sort of, in a really good way, sacrificed himself and pushed Abigail out of the elevator and sort of plummeted, as we thought at that time, to his death. And this was the result of Gabi sort of exploding, setting off a string of bombs under Salem. And so, in a weird way, Gabi was to blame for this particular death. But again, in true Jack fashion, he was not really dead. This was, I think, at this point, maybe his 4th or 5th death or whatever. Anyway, he came back. So we are here to enjoy much more Jack Devereaux. But this was, yeah, a particular interesting one because it seemed like this was the one that was possibly going to stick. But yeah, August 15th, 2012, where Jack died going down in an elevator.
And
Those were the days.
And now it's time for It's a Gift.
And this week's It's a Gift goes to, again, Mr. Leo Stark, with the expression of a man caught in the act and then forced to explain it by his lover.
And Leo's looking like, girl. You expect me to do what?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Now, see, if he was really sneaky, you would have had a cover story just in case. You would have had some things.
This is also the expression that anyone should make to anyone who doesn't like Madonna.
Yes.
Doesn't at least appreciate Madonna.
Yes.
And that was It's a Gift. And now it's time for News and Gossip.
Yes, we have some comings and goings this week. First, heading back to Salem, we got word that Jen Lilly is coming back as Teresa and Zach Tinker as Sunny as part of a overall sort of farewell to Victor. I'm assuming either a funeral or at the next couple of weeks as we sort of fully say goodbye to John Anson's Victor Kiriakis. So yeah, really, really happy about these two. Hopefully we get some more people coming. We'll see, but it makes sense that Sunny's coming back. I'm assuming Teresa's going to come back with Tate or yeah. And she also had that, I think when she left, it was a mutual respect between her and Victor. So I could, sort of have her coming back also sort of makes sense in that regard. So yeah, I think it'll be great to see both of them, especially Jen Lilly. She's been off for a couple years now, I think, so great to see her back as Teresa. We also said a little bit of a farewell. Fingers crossed it is a break and not a farewell to Martha Madison announced that she has left the show and filmed some of quote unquote last scenes that she filmed, I believe, end of April. So I think that means we'll see her probably through October, maybe possibly the beginning of November, depending on where those scenes lie. But we'll see her for a few more months. But yes, Martha Madison is no longer working on Days again. Hopefully this is just a little blip. Go read the story. It's an interesting article. Back and forth between her leaving and then staying and then, what her role would be. So I think Martha rightfully sort of took a stand in some ways and said, this is sort of what I need and what I deserve. And so hopefully when we see Belle back in the near future, I'm saying that, we'll get some really great stuff from her. So, yeah.
And moving on to Day's birthdays. Let's wish happy birthday to Mr. Brock Kelly, who his birthday was a few days ago, August 17th. Happy birthday to Mr. Brock Kelly. We have the lovely Paulina herself, Miss Jackie Harry, celebrated her birthday last week as well. Happy birthday. And as a birthday tribute to one of her most famous scenes of all time, Miss Elia Cantu on her socials posted a funny little tribute to Jackie. It was cute. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's adorable. And then
super cute and spot on.
Yeah, it's spot on. Like just like Ilya has done these for years, these impressions and these skits online, and I don't know how she just does it like spot on. She had everything was perfect.
Talent.
Yes.
And last but not least, we mentioned this last week, but tickets and information for Kevin Spiritus' performance that he's doing in Nashville, Tennessee. He's performing with Joshua Payne and the Traveling Rodeo in Nashville, Tuesday, August 22nd at 8 p.m. at Betty's Grill. So yes, if you are in Nashville or near, go check him out. He has an amazing, amazing voice, as we've seen on the show before. And then if you follow Kevin, you've seen him sing and perform before. But yeah, please go check it out in Nashville at Betty's Grill, August 22nd. I'm sure it'll be a really good show.
Seriously, who took this photo? I want to know.
And I know we did get sidetracked last week. Yes, and if you would like to enjoy Kevin Spiritus in many different forms, go check out his Instagram. Yes.
Now go check out his Instagram.
Yes.
And also we do have to give a big congratulations, although it's officially when you guys are watching this today, that Suzanne Rogers first aired as Maggie. But a big happy 50 years to Miss Suzanne Rogers for giving us little Miss Maggie Horton and all of the trials and tribulations. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for your love for daytime and Days of Our Lives and your talent and just being such an amazing, sweet person. So cheers to you, Suzanne, for 50 years of Days of Our Lives.
That's great.
That is. I mean, to have a job for 50 years, that's amazing.
In entertainment.
Just honey, some of us are on a bus called Struggle.
Yes.
So, and now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to show you what's coming up this week on Peacock's exclusive Days of Our Lives.
To Victor, our tribute continues.
Don't tell me you're mourning the old scoundrel.
To one of television's most notorious villains.
He treated me like dirt.
And oh, baby.
Oh my gosh, you're pregnant. I'm gonna be a father and you weren't even gonna tell me?
Is the baby okay?
Days of Our Lives, streaming now on Peacock.
Ooh, oh, baby.
It gets me every time. I could watch it all day. It just, yeah.
It's so. We did forget to mention that Xander saw Sarah pregnant because they kind of left that on Friday, but we'll cover it next week, I'm sure. But yeah, all right. Well, that was Dishin Days, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Before we head out, Justin Lee Hareld, where can the fine folks find all things Justin on the one social media platform you have decided to give this information to?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, Justin Lee Hareld, and in Kevin Spiritus comments.
Oh, not just Kevin Spiritus.
Many others.
Many.
Yes. And you'll only see me there if you were there as well.
Araceli?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TA323Araceli.
Because she refused to call it X.
No.
Even though it's called X, formerly
Nope.
Twitter. It's like calling Prince Symbol, formerly known as Prince.
Or the Staples Center.
Now that it will always be the same.
People refuse.
Don't even go there. Oh gosh.
And if you want to let Michael Mattis know how much you missed him today, head over to Instagram or X, formerly known as Twitter, and follow him at ML Mattis. You can find me on all social media platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X,
Threads.
at Lounging with Tony. And of course, you can find all of us on all the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and X. Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, X, and Threads. Don't forget about threading, because we're threadalicious. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another Dishin Days. We will be back next week with another full dish of next week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Until then, stay safe. If you are in California, beware of the hurricane, and we will see you back next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.